A Pan-Africanist says GERD sparks East African unity. The Organization for Southern Cooperation calls for concrete integration among the Global South. Hello and welcome to EBC World Damascus and whatnot for the hour's latest. Chinese ambassador to Ethiopia Zhao Jinyuan and Health Minister Muqaddas Daba signed a project launch agreement that will allow Ethiopian eye patients to access health care properly. The Bright Journey project is claimed to be vital to further enable many Ethiopians with eye illnesses to access medical care. The Ministry of Health disclosed that 500 eye patients will receive eye surgery in the first round of the Bright Journey project, adding that a training in the basis of ophthalmology will also be offered to professionals. Ambassador Jinyuan stipulated that the project would go forward and broaden its scope, mentioning that its country will supply Ethiopia with 21,000 doses of the cholera vaccine in the initial round, which will primarily shield Ethiopian children from picking up the disease. According to the ambassador Jinyuan, the Chinese government is planning to open 3 more medical facilities in Ethiopia shortly, and these initiatives will be crucial to strengthening the two countries' all-weather alliances. Minister Daba expressed gratitude to the Chinese government for its firm commitment to modernization and supporting her ministry. Merchants Chamber of Commerce and Industry organized a special session with Ambassador of Ethiopia to India. The ambassador Demuka Makonnen on Indian-Ethiopia bilateral ties and trade. That was what the special session was all about. Rashbak Kotari, immediate past president of the organization, in his address highlighted that India is the second largest trading partner of Ethiopia, accounting for 10% of Ethiopia's global trade. Bilateral trade stood at $642.59 million in 2022/23. He inquired about the possibilities of cooperation between the two countries in ICT, digital payments, renewable energy, infrastructure, and tourism, among others. He pointed out that India and Ethiopia are planning to collaborate on unified payment interface with Eat-Switch of Ethiopia. Ambassador Demuka on his part mentioned that Ethiopia is the third largest country in sub-Saharan economy, having GDP growth rate at 7% in 2023. He noted there is huge opportunity to expand and enhance the trade potential between the two countries, adding that there is surplus production of hydropower in Ethiopia and the country exports surplus power to its neighboring countries. In the context of information technology, the ambassador mentioned that Ethiopia has huge digital transformation plan in the future, inviting Indian investors to engage in the ICT sector of the country.
Welcome back to this channel on Ferrell's Mad World, and this is Ferrell. I will be showing you the
أساس لواء أساس. دتشي وممدرو.
The Republic of Congo has consolidated its full membership status of the Organization of Southern Cooperation with the depositing of the Instrument of Acceptance by Daniel Owasa, Ambassador of the Republic of Congo to Ethiopia and permanent representative to the African Union. The ambassador of the Republic of Congo expressed his satisfaction to have deposited the Instrument of Acceptance that will enable full membership of his country to the Organization of South Cooperation. The Instrument of Acceptance was received by Secretary General Mansour bin Masalam at the handover ceremony held at the OSC headquarters in Addis Ababa. The Secretary General stated that this was a historic day for the organization as a secretariat, as a collective of sovereign states of the South, and a historic day for the Republic of Congo.
It was a historic day because the Republic of the Congo, a founding state of the organization, a state that had the visionary quality of being present at our founding summit on the 29th of January 2020, of creating the Organization of Southern Cooperation, completed today through the deposit of its instruments of acceptance that was delivered by the ambassador of the Republic of Congo here in Addis Ababa, of depositing their instrument of acceptance of our constitutive charter. And with this, the Republic of the Congo takes its legitimate and rightful place amongst our full member states, which means that today, the organization in the Republic of the Congo and the collective of sovereign states that is the OSC is in a better place to engage more proactively, tangibly, concretely with the Republic of the Congo in delivering on our shared vision of a third way of development.
Meanwhile, the Organization of Southern Cooperation called for tangible and practical integration among the global South for the true South-South cooperation. Speaking to EBC World, the General Secretary of the OSC, Mansour bin Masalam, said regional integration for South-South cooperation is capable of answering people's aspirations for authentic development. The General Secretary also expressed his organization's commitment to work in a win-win scenario to contextualize the current global order. Johannes Fantown has the following report.
South-South cooperation is a collaboration for the exchange of resources, knowledge, technology and expertise among countries in the global South. This form of cooperation aims to promote mutual development, capacity building and collective self-reliance among nations in the Southern Hemisphere. The Organization of Southern Cooperation is an inter-regional entity working for the betterment of the global South. Speaking for EBC, the General Secretary of the Cooperation, Mansour bin Masalam, expressed the essentiality of regional and continental integration for the realization of developed global South.
As an organization that is principally focused on South-South cooperation, that is cooperation amongst countries of Latin America and the Caribbean, Africa, the Arab world and Asia Pacific, we also recognize that first and foremost, there is no South-South cooperation truly capable of answering our people's aspiration for authentic development without, in parallel, a reinforcement an acceleration of regional and continental integrations.
The General Secretary, who said continental and regional integration cannot be achieved without tangible projects, expressed 6 strategic sectors that his organization identified to overcome the structural deficiencies in the member states.
Ultimately, there's 2 things. The first is we do not believe at the OSC that there is such a thing as integration without something tangible. You look at the European Union, for instance. In my view, the European Union is a very successful example of integration. But that integration was built upon, in my view, two things: Erasmus and Airbus. Concrete projects that brought those countries together. And therefore, when we speak of integration amongst our countries of the South, as well as regional integration, we fundamentally believe that beyond agreements and resolutions, we need concrete, tangible projects. And so, going to the last mandate of the OSCE, the one about finance, debt relief, and fresh finance, the OSCE has identified 6 strategic sectors. And we speak of strategic sectors because we believe that our countries must overcome the structural deficiencies of our economies that generate our dependencies.
Speaking on the current global order, bin Musallam underscored the win-win scenario that the OSCE is working and addressed the need to adapt the concerns of the South.
At the OSCE, we are not promoting a confrontation. We are not promoting a cosmic war for development. No, not at all. We are proposing a different approach to development and international relations, indeed, that leads us, we are certain, to a win-win scenario. We are not saying we want the international financial architecture to disappear and creditors to no longer exist. No, we are saying we want an international financial architecture that, yes, protects the interests of creditors, as it does today, but also takes into account the legitimate concerns of our countries.
South-South cooperation plays a vital role in promoting sustainable development, fostering partnership, and advancing the collective interest of developing countries in a collective and inclusive manner.
A Pan-Africanist says Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam enhances regional cooperation among the East African countries. Talking to EBC World, Mahalit Ayala also outlines that Ethiopia sets a precedent for African countries in terms of benefiting riparian countries while building dams protecting the natural and conventional rights of a single country. Shagawi Mato tells us more.
The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, a 6,450 megawatt hydropower project which is under construction since 2011 in order to generate electricity to about 60% of Ethiopia's 120 million citizens at the cost of $5 billion in the Benshangul Gumuz region of the country, is nearing completion is over 95% of its construction. It is indicated that the dam will have numerous advantages for the continent despite multiple challenges from low riparian countries like Egypt to hold the construction of the dam. Talking to EBC World, a Pan-Africanist Mahalit Ayala underscores that the GERD will light up the East African region and enhance regional cooperation.
GERD is a Pan-African project. It's not limited to Ethiopia. It might literally power Ethiopia, but also it power Ethiopia in terms of politics. It will empower the region. It will make Ethiopia the powerhouse in East Africa, and also it empowers the whole continent. You are enhancing regional cooperation. Then there is a transboundary infrastructure between neighboring countries for Ethiopia to sell power to Kenya. Then you have definitely infrastructure between those boundaries. So with that, then you are also benefiting the continent.
The Pan-Africanist also indicated that Ethiopia set new precedent for African countries to follow suit when constructing dams like GERD for mutual benefit of riparian countries.
It's something that benefits the riparian states, all of them who shares the Nile water. By setting this precedent, Ethiopia is paying a political sacrifice for the rest of riparian countries. Maybe the next one will be, Burundi, who wants to build a dam. The next one could be, Rwanda or Uganda, who wants to build a dam. But they have seen Ethiopia, what kind of journey Ethiopia has traveled. So that kind of create a guideline for other countries how this needs to be handled. So it's really a political sacrifice, paving the way for the rest of African countries.
Mahalet further pointed out that African leaders take a lesson from Ethiopia on the uncompromising national interests of a nation despite opposing political ideologies by leaders at different times, and economic freedom when building big projects funded by one's own people.
So most African countries do not think that, when one comes to power, especially it could be by a coup d'etat or by war or whatever, they wouldn't think to finish or to complete a project that is started by a previous leader. You cannot compromise just because you have a political difference. We are not even going to World Bank or IMF to get a fund, because we know that once you get a fund, then you will be, there is a lot of pressure that they will take more from you under the table. They will put a lot of pressure. They will take your freedom. So that is something Ethiopia has taught.
Ethiopians recently marked the 13th anniversary of the commencement of the construction of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, whose cornerstone was laid by the late Prime Minister Meles Zenawi in 2011.
Well, before I leave, here is the recap of the top stories once again. A Pan-Africanist says the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam enhances regional integration among the East African countries. The Organization of Southern Cooperation calls for a tangible and practical integration among the Global South. Well, that's all we have for the hour. Many thanks for watching. I'm Oscar Matnaf. Bye-bye from me.